you're having an exciting time trading, you're doing it wrong. Trading needs to be boring. If markets go, then we're living in caves. If markets disappear. As crypto has evolved, we've found that the markets are decentralizing. It's easy to just get into markets if you go that route. It's an opportunity that anybody can take advantage of. No one's gonna look at what country you're from. No one's gonna look at what color your skin is, none of that. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're the best ditch digger, then you're gonna make money.
Nick, pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me today for DiceE podcast. We was planning for this podcast, I think, for a month or two.
Yeah.
Because of my travels and me being on the road and you being really occupied and busy with your life. Thank you for actually having a chance to sit down and talk to me about what you do and what you develop, which is really interesting, and I love to hear more about it today. So let's begin. First thing first, roll the dice.
And thanks for having me, by the way. I've been looking forward to this.
Me as well, my friend. What's the number?
10.
You need to say it.
Okay.
If you could choose a different profession than what you're currently doing, what would it be?
Oh, okay. I would be a surgeon.
Surgeon? Why surgeon?
I wanted to be a surgeon when I was young. And I went a different route, mostly because when I was at university, I learned that if I want to be a surgeon, it's like 10 years of school. And at that time, I had a different mindset. I was partying, I didn't want to be in school for 10 years, I didn't want to take on that much debt. And so I said, I'll go into business and I'll become a millionaire. Well, it took a while, but it happened. If I would have gone and been a surgeon, I would have had all the money a lot sooner.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
How's your hands?
Oh, steady, man.
Steady?
Very steady, yeah.
That would be interesting. I didn't know that you would be interested in to being a doctor to start with, but
yeah, I took the schooling for first couple of years. University was pre-med.
Gotcha. Where did you grow up? No.
Riverside, California.
Riverside, California. What's interesting there?
Nothing. I'm just kidding. No, it's east of LA, maybe depending on traffic, maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, and it was the fastest growing city in the country around 1900, about 100 years ago. So, and that's because of the orange gold. And what that means is that agriculture, oranges specifically, grew really well. And my family has a lot of history in the Southern California area too. So I could bore you with it. There's a lot.
Gotcha. What's the most active hobby you did as a child?
Active hobby? Aside from video games, playing soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played soccer, but I stopped when I was about 10, and I became Boy Scout, and then that was the hobby. And that was really good. Back then, I was kind of mad at my parents because they made me choose Boy Scouts or soccer. So I want to do both. I said, you don't have time for both. Looking back, it was the right choice.
So Boy Scouts all the way. Where did you go camping and all of that? How was experience during Boy Scouting?
That was great. Looking back now as an adult, I can see what I learned from like leadership, leading men basically, learning male hierarchy, learning how it is in a group of men. And to be very frank with you, I was socially very behind when I was young. I didn't understand a lot of things about being social, how to act in a group, things like that. And so Boy Scouts really, they were kind of mean. I got it literally beat into me on how to mellow out and be part of the group. So it taught me survival. It taught me like preparedness. I could go into the bush for a week or two and be fine.
Did you ever met the bear?
Want more Google reviews faster? With Apex NFC, your customer can share their experience with just a tap. More reviews mean more visibility, trust, and growth for your business. Stand out from the competition with Apex NFC. Use the code VictorTimewolf for 15% off your first order at apexnfc.com. Start growing your reviews today.
Yes, I have met a bear up close. And it was my fault So we went to this place called Philmont Scout Ranch, and this is in New Mexico. And it's a big thing in Boy Scouts. It's hundreds of acres, maybe, I don't know how many acres, but it's huge. And you go around and you hike for 10 days, and it's really, really cool. So you go to these trading posts and you get food, and then you take the food with you, and every few days you restock food. And when you stop at a camp, there are these wires from tree to tree, very high up, and you take a rope, you throw it over, tie your sack, and you hoist it. The way the bears can't get to it. Well, I was leading the group. I was the patrol leader, and I forgot to tell them to hang the bear bag. So we went for a day hike. We came back not even an hour later, very, very quick just exploration. And we come back, and there's a bear, and he was a grizzly. Grizzly bears are very big. And so he was packing through our food, and we had adults with us. In Scouts, the adults really just make sure the kids don't kill each other. Like, we all run everything, but the adults took over, and he said, okay, everybody get together, because everyone's like, scared. And so we all got together, and he said, okay, everybody wave your hands, make as much noise as you can. And so we all did that, 20 boys and a couple of adults, banging pots and pans, making noise. We all had our knives out, and the bear looked at us and just ran. And as he ran, you could feel his hitting the floor, his feet hitting the floor.
You can feel vibration through the air.
Yeah, big, man. I think I might have urinated a little. And so he jumped on a tree like this, and he goes, "Bah!" And then he ran away.
Oh, really?
That's the story.
That's interesting.
I met a rhino once, rhinoceros.
Really?
Yeah. Not in Boy Scouts. That's another story.
Safari?
It was a safari, yeah. It was an elephant safari.
Yeah, that's interesting. How long you been doing the Boy Scouts for then?
Well, since I was about 2 years old. So my dad, he was big in Boy Scouts, my dad and my uncle, and then of course have an older cousin. So my dad took my older cousin in, and my dad was at that point a single father. He took me after divorce, and I was like 2. So I went everywhere with him, hunting, scouting. I was there. And so I went on these campouts as a child too. Mm-hmm. And then by the time my cousin was out, there were me going into scouting probably around 5 or 6. And I stopped when I was about 13. Mm-hmm. And then I got into track and field and cross country and
moved basically
on.
More active sport.
Yeah, you could say more active. Boy Scouts in our troop was very active. We did a lot of hiking. I've hiked hundreds of miles.
Yeah,
with 80-pound pack.
Gotcha. Will you are gonna encourage your kids to go and do Boy Scouting?
I think so. We were concerned about it because, things have changed politically, and they forced Boy Scouts to let in girls. And it's maybe not a bad thing, I don't know. But what I learned about being in a group of all men, all boys, that's, I think, very important. So if I want my son to be in that, I want my son to be surrounded by nothing but men so he can learn that.
Gotcha.
And if my sister, who has her son in Boy Scouts, said that where she lives in Southern California, they have troops that are all boys. So I'm sure it's going to be like that out here.
Okay. That's an interesting take. If I want to have my future kids to be in Boy Scouts, we'll see.
It's good stuff. Do they have it up where you are?
I don't know, but I love camping, so naturally, I hope we'll see. Maybe my kids will love all the camping stuff to do. So, but
are you going to Algonquin?
No, I'm not going to Algonquin. I have other priorities before I'm able to
I understand.
go there. Yeah, but important part about Boy Scouts, I think it's ability, like to know how to start a fire or how to make sure that wood is sharp, right? Or how to set up a tent even, right? Because you never know.
Or even if you don't have a tent, how to make a survival out of weeds and sticks.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, roll the dice.
Okay. 20.
20, you got natural 20, eh? Some people will be crazy because of it. What do you love to do in your free time?
If I had free time, I would tell you. I would say at this point, I've got 2 kids in diapers, and I run the equivalent of 3 businesses. So I'm, you know how busy I am.
I know, but my viewers doesn't. So
yeah, no, I understand. So what I do is I set time aside to spend with my wife. And so when the kids are in bed, I make sure that we have at least a few hours as an adult. And at least a couple of times a month, I take her out to a restaurant. Maybe we take the kids, maybe we don't. But the simple answer to free time, I'm back into the gym. So I don't know if you call that free time, but I make time for that. But with my wife, we read. We watch TV. We read at night. So my office is, you've seen like in the videos what my office looks like. It's very, it's lit with lights. It's fun. And so we have a little recliner, the double recliner. It's like a couch, and we just recline and we read.
What the book you're reading right now?
Right now, it's Anti-Fragile.
Anti-Fragile?
Yeah.
I need to read that book, but sometimes I think I have that covered a little bit.
Yeah, you seem good.
But we'll see. So moving on from your childhood, where did you study? Did you go to university, or you just right away after finishing high school just go to the businesses? And
No, I went to DiceE for a couple of years, and like I told you, socially I was a little behind, and so my parents like helped me make a good decision. Looking back, at the time I didn't like it, but now I understand. And so they suggested I do like junior college for a couple of years. And then there was a kind of a transfer program that put me into University of California, San Diego. So I went there as basically a junior. So I was 3 years there because I switched majors. And, but yeah, UCSD, bachelor's in economics.
Awesome. And how did it help you today? Like
That's a really good question. It helped me get some jobs. So one of the most difficult jobs I had was as an insurance claim adjuster, right? I did a lot of time in sales. But I did decide to go the corporate route. And so I went to be a claim adjuster for an insurance company. And the college degree helped me get that job. And then what I learned at that job is what really helped. That's answer number one, and I can elaborate if you like. But answer number two, to get a degree in economics, that school at its time was a top 10 school for that subject. So very heavy on econometrics, some fancy stuff, calculus-based statistics and regression models. And it all sounds fancy, but when you study it, it ends up not being that fancy, It's kind of like a recipe, like, this is amazing. It's really easy. Anyway, finishing that degree, just finishing the degree was something that really mattered, and it made a difference in my life because, remember, I wanted to be a doctor, but I was partying, and I partied hard, and I did maybe not so well one quarter. I didn't get kicked out of school, but my parents said, you're on your own, because they were paying for most everything with, I got student loans, but at that point, they didn't give me time to find a job. They said, you're out. They saw that I got some bad grades, so I had to get a job the next day, and I had to borrow money. And so getting back in on my own, finishing that degree, doing 3 jobs, that actually built a lot of character.
Yeah, because you don't have time to do anything else except work and study, right? That's basically what I'm doing right now with everything in life. So what's the best part of back looking on those years, what's the best part was of university?
Oh man, I had a lot of fun. I met some good people that I still know today. The best part, I would say, would be I got into music at that time. I'd always played guitar, but at one point I decided I wanted to be a drummer. And I wanted to be a drummer when I was 6 years old. But then I'm 21 or so, and one of my friends had a drum kit, and he became a roommate. He brought his drum kit, and I tried it. I'm like, I like this. So I ended up buying a drum kit. I got so involved that I was playing every day for a few hours a day. I was playing like Slipknot songs. I got pretty good. You would say professional grade. And that experience, I started to play at parties, and my buddy and I wrote a bunch of songs, and that shaped my life in a big way too. So not much to do with college or university, but that's just what happened in that time.
That's interesting. Do you still play?
Once in a while. I don't have a kit right now. My kit's still in California. That's a problem.
Do you want it to get delivered?
Yeah. I'll pay you. Yeah.
Well,
go
let me know where it is. We'll work on that. But other than that, I mean, we'll see. So you've been doing 3 jobs. You finished your degree. What the process for you was after that? Like, what did you start doing? And what year? What time of it was?
Graduated officially in 2002, but it was the end of 2002. So really, that was when I was done with school. I had a sales job here, a sales job there. I was selling student loans at that time. It was like a slam dunk, really easy sales. I made up until the last like 5, let's say, up until 2017, I made more money at university. So from the time I left university and tried to go like the straight and narrow, the corporate job, all that stuff, I made more money doing sales in university at that time, and for about a few years after. So right after university, I went through a few different things. I had the student loan job, but the boss was stealing from me, and I caught him, and I couldn't trust him after that. So I took another job, and just jobs here, selling websites, I sold windshields at one point on the phone, and I did real well in sales. And so I went into insurance sales. That's my father's business, and he did well with that. So I learned under him for a while, and then I left him because I wanted to make more money. So I went back to selling websites because I was really good at that. And then after that, I went back to insurance to take the corporate route, to go work for the corporation rather, because my dad had a contract with the company, so I just went to go work for a company. And that's when I got into that whole claim adjuster role that I told you about.
Yeah, and you finished that job when exactly?
I actually so it's a little more complex than that. So when I was still before the corporate job, I opened up a company with some friends of mine, and I wrote the business plan, and the story, I'll try to make it as quick as possible.
Take your time.
Oh yeah, it's because, to me it's interesting. I don't know how it is for anybody else, but I'm at the drum shop because I used to work at Guitar Center too. I did sales there for a short time when I was a teenager. So I'm in there and I'm playing with the drums, and the guy behind the counter, who I'd known him, I'd even been to his house a few years before that. I never worked with him, but we worked with the same people. And he says, "Hey, drums is your thing?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "What do you think of this?" And he brought out a drum that he had made, a snare drum. And then he showed me some cymbals that he made. He goes, "What do you think of this product?" I said, "I could tell you what I think of it if I take it home and try it. It looks good." And so he showed me some advertisements. I tried it, great product. So I came back and said, "I like this. This is good stuff." And he goes, "Do you want to be a part of our company?" And I was like, actually, that's not how it went. I told him, I said, "Hey, let me help you write a business plan. This is a great product." And I didn't ask for anything.
Yeah.
So I sat with him and his wife for maybe 2-3 weeks, cracking beers, and we made a business plan. And at that time, he got the other 2 guys. It was him and 2 guys, and they got them on the phone, and they all offered me position in the company for equal share.
Gotcha.
Sure, yeah. And then he found an investor who brought about $100,000, and that investor to this day is still one of my closest friends.
Okay.
So it was called Supernatural Symbols. You can find them online. We ended up making a bit of a splash. We met some pretty famous people. A few $1 million got invested. But when I was in there, I was also doing insurance at the same time because that company wasn't paying anything. It was a new business. I needed money. So I just told the guys, "I'm sorry, unless there's a way we can generate income, I can't help you."
Yeah.
And I left. They got even bigger, and then they broke apart for a legal reason. But that whole experience right there was a really great experience. I still know all those people, and one day we'll reopen it. We got on that show, Orange County Choppers, that one where they, with Big Paul, Little Paul, whatever their names are. I don't know if you know that show. Oh, very famous show. American Chopper, it's called. Anyway, we got on there. They made a chopper that had our symbols. It was themed as our company with the symbols. It was really cool. So there was that at the same time as going into the corporate role. And right before I went corporate role, I decided to open up a call center in my dad's operation. So I hadn't gone corporate yet. And I told my dad, I said, "I've run call centers before." So I opened up a call center where we were finding leads for all of his insurance agents. And that did pretty well. We split the money. And then I got busy with the music thing. And so I had to hire somebody else to run the call center, and that somebody else sucked. And so the call center just kind of fizzled off. And so when the call center fizzled, music business fizzled, I'm like, I'm going corporate. I need the paycheck. I need the
Gotcha.
benefits. I went corporate.
Gotcha. And after that, I presume you started your new journey.
Yeah, that was so. As a claim adjuster, what you're dealing with are people who are injured, and they just got into an accident. And a lot of times they don't like you because your person that you represent hit them. So in their car. So long story short, I had to help people get their medical bills figured out, and then that was tough. I moved over to doing the cars instead of the people, and that negotiation was very different. With the medical bills, you're on the phone, right? You might negotiate in person, but like 99% in the phone. But with the cars, I was going to shops, and so I started out working in out in the desert, Palm Springs area. And that was great. It was pretty calm. And then my buddy, who was the investor in the civil company who brought that first 100,000 that turned into millions, right? That guy said, I want you to come work for me. We're doing what? And he says, well, I want you to start with environmental remediation. So what's that? He says, we're taking gasoline out of the groundwater. So a lot of these gas stations, gasoline leached into the groundwater. And so there's these systems to pull it out. There's two kind of systems. There's a thermal oxidizer that burns the gasoline, literally burns it. And then there's, if the damage isn't too bad, if the environmental pollution is not too bad, it's just a pump system. So I ran the pump system, and on the weekends. So I was insurance by week, and then one day a week I drove the work truck down to Calexico, which is right by Mexico. 120 degree weather. It was brutal. It was just brutal. So Palm Springs is like that too, but when you're out there working on like gasoline pumps and you're opening the thing in the floor, you're measuring how far the water is down, you're pulling out the bailers, and then I learned, in that process, I learned how flow systems work because it was a big flow system. It's a specific gravity pump, pumps out to, like basically a big tank. And then there's a lot to do with that. And he said, at one point he goes, you did pretty good with this. Do you want to interview with a friend of mine to work in the natural gas business? This is, I've never worked in natural gas. This is, well, you never worked in this either, and you did fine. Okay, sure. So, so I go there. And
so network, basically.
Yeah, like I said, relationships, right? Yeah. So the guy said, the guy who hired me, his buddy who ran a company, said, how do you like the working in Calexico? I'm like, it's hot. He says, well, I hear you're doing a good job. I said, well, they keep paying me. And so they offered me a job, and basically I apprenticed to be a compressed natural gas, a CNG industrial compressor mechanic, right? So I know that's a lot. Natural gas trucks, right? Like you don't see as many like for semis, but you see them around.
I see them enough.
Yeah, so
the worst one is when they rolled over. That's the worst one, but luckily not a lot of them.
Yeah,
it's rare, but
it's rare. But I've seen it on video.
Yeah,
it's not good, and it's not that they explode for flames; it's the pressure. Very dangerous. So when those trucks go to the fill station is what I would work on. So the big compressor, fill this room. Fill two of these rooms sometimes for the whole thing. So I'd work on those. I'd maintain them. I'd operate them. Again, first like 6 months heavy into like apprenticeship, and after a while I was on my own fixing them. Or I did that, and then that company fell apart due to legal battle between the two owners, just like the music company, but different people. And so I was the first one to go. I was the last one hired, and they were paying me too much money. They couldn't afford to keep me, so I went back to insurance, and that brought me to Los Angeles, and then. I was working for the insurance company, doing the same thing, but in LA. Higher pay, living in Redondo Beach. That's when I really started to the unplugged journey really took a big trajectory.
Gotcha.
So that's, that's not that long ago. That was 2013 when I started in LA.
2013. And after you proceed to continue learning how to do insurance? Or
Yeah, it was again negotiating. Basically, with automobile claims, what you do is you go to like a mechanic or really a body shop usually.
Oh, that's when you started automobile claims. Okay, gotcha.
That's
gotcha.
actually the second time. So I did it out in the desert. I left to be a mechanic, and then I came back to be in insurance. But I still would get calls to help with the mechanic work on like weekends and stuff like that. So it was kind of always doing at least two things.
Guys, you probably didn't know about it, but I have my own coaching website. You're welcome to follow it in the link down below and see a lot of really important information about my coaching, about my courses. Don't forget to subscribe to my mailing list where I will be talking more about my future upcoming products and my future upcoming podcast. Keep tuned and let's get back to the show. Gotcha. That's pretty interesting. That's how I know that you know a lot. And you just jump in and it doesn't matter what you want and stuff. So roll dice. Two. If you were a cat, what kind of cat you would be?
First answer comes up as a black cat.
Why black?
That's just what came up. Didn't even think about it.
Why though?
Sleek. You know, they're sleek. They're good camouflage, good hunters, hard to see.
Yeah, at night.
At night. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Any
particular breed of black cat?
I don't know much about cat breeds.
Are you allergic to cats?
Yes.
Okay. That makes the reason for it.
I love cats too. I grew up with cats as a child, and then something changed when I was older, became allergic.
Gotcha. I think a lot of people, they're not allergic to fur of the cats, they're allergic to saliva. They put it on the furs. That's mostly like mixed together. That's mostly why people.
Because they're always licking their fur, huh?
Yeah. So that could be a reason. But moving on to a topic that everybody want to know, and which I want to learn more. But how did you start with crypto?
Well, how personal do I get here? I'll tell you the whole story.
To tell me as much as you would like, sir.
I will tell you the whole story. Now everybody gets to hear it because I don't really tell this a lot, but I'll tell you this story because it's a little embarrassing. So I was in the insurance business and I was doing well. I was making at least $100,000 between, pay, company car, medical benefits, 401k match. I don't know what I was making. 120 something is good money. And I won a poker tournament. So the poker tournament was like a quarter mile from my house. And it was like in somebody's garage, not like, not at the casino. And I won it. I won twice. Because we had like main round and then second round. And I was very drunk. And I won twice. And it was very fun, right? Having a good time. My buddy Predrag was there with me, so we were just going to town. And I wanted to get home. I lived around the corner. And so I'm going home. I lived at the beach. And I had like a little place at the beach with no parking. So I'm looking for parking, and it's summertime, and I'm driving, and I see a spot over here, so I flip an illegal U-turn, and whoop, whoop, cops get me, right? Yeah. Long story short, I ended up hiring a lawyer. I didn't get a full DUI, but I basically got a DUI, right? It's different legal, and I didn't have to pay as much, but I thought I was going to get fired. I thought I was in a company car, and I stopped drinking after that, basically. Yeah. There were a handful of drinks. I don't drink anymore, though. I'm not whatever. I don't.
Same as me. Like I don't drink, but if I'm sick.
Yeah. Even now, like I just don't drink anymore. Like maybe I had 2 drinks last year for party or something, but no more. Anyway, so I thought I was going to get fired. They put me on administrative leave. So they were paying me like 75% money to stay at home. Not a lot of time to think. And this was 2015 election cycle, right? Hillary versus Trump. And I started waking up, and I mean waking up in like 2001, 2002 was the first time I learned that like business is not always clean and politics is not always clean. And I learned that from a mentor. And then in 2011, my cousin, he made 8 figures in real estate, he also started showing me the way things really work, right, in business and politics in the world. Yeah. And so I woke up pretty hard around 2011, 2012, but it was the kind of wake up where I thought like the world was going to end and, not very healthy. Yeah. And then I kind of went back to work and didn't worry about those things for a while. And then in around that time, 2014 or so, I was like, I started to get into red pill, right? Because I wanted to get better at dating, right? So I was working out, I was very, physically very fit, easy to meet women. Dating apps were new. Dating apps were much easier to use back then. I'm hearing horror stories now. Yeah. And so I met like a lot of really nice girls, had a great time, never a bad experience. I hear all these horror stories. I met a lot of nice people.
Yeah.
These I don't know, maybe I just got lucky. These girls were all nice. And then I finally met my wife. But before I did all that, I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it right. So, and Rich, our friend Rich Cooper, wasn't doing his thing back then. So I was looking up like how to date on, phone, internet, whatever. I ran across this guy, Chris something or other. I can't find him anymore. I don't know where he's made all his money and he's gone now, right? So, but they were really good about teaching a man how to be men.
Yeah.
And how you approach dating. A lot of the stuff that, the guys in our group are all, So I at that point I was in very good shape, was healthy, and then I got my mind right. And so I'm on kind of a red pill journey now because when you go in that direction, like being more of a man, you start to think for yourself. And so flash forward to when I got this arrest, now I'm sitting at home and it's election cycle. Now I'm starting to learn about the way things work in that, right? Donald Trump, and I saw the whole machine just turn on Trump. Everybody loved him, everybody hated him. And I'm like, I don't get it, So that was like the wake up in that. And in that kind of time period, I went back to work for a natural gas company, right? And then like a similar company, but whatever. So I was calling my friends. I'm like, hey, I've got a little money saved, and I'm looking to do like my next career move, right? And I told people what happened. They all got it. And I had my friends really showed up. Like that's, I'm a little emotional about it. My friends showed up for me. They're like, hey, you need a job? I'll get you a job. I'm like, I kind of have like basically a DUI, right? It's all right. We'll make it work, And so I had friends like help me get work if I wanted their help. Yeah. One of my buddies, he says, well, you need a job, but why don't you think about investing in Bitcoin? And this was in 2017. And that's when I got into Bitcoin. And I had traded on margin paper, like silver, basically, in 2011. So I knew a little bit about trading. And I bought Bitcoin, but as I bought Bitcoin, I'm listening to all this kind of red pill type content. And now I'm looking on YouTube trying to learn about Bitcoin. And so YouTube algo has red pill and Bitcoin and puts them together. And I meet the people I work with today. Just right off of YouTube. And so I learned how to trade. I learned how to like make short-term moves. And I got one of my buddies into crypto who I worked with in natural gas, and his dad is like this billionaire from Singapore. So he dug right in and we worked together. And so very long story short, that's what led me to where I am today. Learning how to trade, teaching people how to trade. And then I was extremely aggressive. That's where the cowboy name comes from, being very aggressive. And that's, I could tell a much longer story, but
please,
okay.
I'm all ears.
So my buddy who I got in, he dug in his way and I dug in my way. Like we worked together for a minute, and then we worked separately. And so he was doing like your typical trading, like you see me do now, right, with the charts. And this gets a little technical for the audience here, but when you work with an exchange right now, all the computers are trading so fast that you can never trade faster than a computer, right?
Yeah.
Because if you could trade faster than everybody else, there are some advantages to how you can place your bets, if you will.
Yeah.
I found an exchange, crypto exchange. It's called Ether Delta. It's still around. I think it's called Fork Delta now. And this was so far back that I was talking to the owner of the exchange. Like you could talk to people in crypto back then. It was such a small world. And I did something called order book spread arbitrage. So long story short, I was doing something called market making. And I doubled my money in about a week. I wasn't paying attention. I was just into like the action of it, and I didn't know what an order book was called. I didn't know what spread was called. I didn't know arbitrage was called. I just dug into like what it was. You know, like my dad thinks maybe I might be a little bit autistic. He's serious, and I think he's right. So I just was like on that, you know, and I dug in, and my money doubled in a week, and I was like, oh, I've got something here. And so I did that, and I turned this much money into about that much. And then that, as all exploits do, that exploit closed, because good things don't last. Yeah. So I got what I could out of that. I made hay while the sun shines. And then I went into the regular kind of trading, the kind of trading that you see me doing today.
Gotcha.
So that was bull market 2017. I didn't understand bull and bear. Crypto was pretty new. You know, we all thought it was going to go up forever, right? So I learned my lesson in 2017, 2018 that things don't go up forever. And so, you know, I made this much and I lost about that much, right? But I still started with this much, so I was doing pretty good.
Gotcha.
So my buddy that I got in to trading, he blew up. He got big, blew up in a good way. And trading blowing up is bad, but he blew up like in a good way. Got a big following, and we had a company that was kind of teaching people how to trade. A small company was bringing in, I don't know, $100,000 a year in revenue, no overhead. And so we ended up, and you know, a lot of this is being ran through LLCs and you know stuff like that. So anyway, I told him, I said, hey, I got some buddies that have a big audience, right? Yeah. Do you want to do what we're doing, but a lot more people? He said, yeah, because he was always like, yeah, because I always had ideas. And so we ended up with a company called Watch Us Trade, where people would basically watch us trade. And then I talked to a YouTube personality who is to this day one of my closest friends, Avi the Gorilla. I do my videos with him in the morning a lot of the time, and he's Rogue News. So that's just, if you're looking about that, looking to find that. That company did well until the Bitcoin bear market in 2018, and then I just got into Forex trading because crypto kind of died. There was no volatility left. There was not a lot of trading to do. It was a winter time for crypto, and so I hired a mentor, paid him a fair amount of money to teach me how to trade like professional. And so he taught me the way he trades. I don't really do. I use some of it. But he taught me how to treat it like a business, right? He taught me how to do money management, conservation of capital, psychological.
Recorded books.
Yeah.
still like.
I should be reading more books. Like, I didn't read books though. I was much more of hands-on. But he had some videos that helped. I'm really big, because I'm doing so many things. Sometimes the only time I have to like listen to anything or to read a book is audio. Yeah. And so I watched a lot of videos that way. Hired him as a mentor, hired another guy as a mentor. He was like some muckety-muck in Europe, like trading in Bundesbank or whatever he was. And I learned under him as well. And then there's a third guy I worked with for a short time. And so I took all that knowledge and I found common threads and I looped it together into what I do now.
That's pretty exciting.
It's less exciting than you would think.
I don't know. You tell me.
I'll put it to you this way. If you're just the trading part, right? It's exciting. Like right now, Bitcoin's doing well. It's fun. To me, it's like, whatever. Yeah. I'm happy. I'm thankful. I'm not like whatever. I'm saying, okay, it is what it is. It could be gone tomorrow. So you have to make sure that you're, doing the right thing. Most of my money has come from buying good assets and holding them for a long time. The in and out, in and out, in and out. Any of those wins get flipped into that asset bag. So I'm not like somebody who has this much money and trades that much money. I have this much money and I trade about that much.
Yeah, 1%.
A little more.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, you told me at the beginning that if you want to start trading, if you have an amount of $1,000, just learn. You need to play like 0.01% or something, 0.02% or something like that.
Yeah,
so
like
something,
nothing.
Yeah, something that you're willing to lose and stuff. So basically work out of that. So I talked to you a lot about, and you helping a lot of guys at least.
I did the exact opposite of what I tell everybody to do, by the way. I took all my money and traded all my money every single time in the beginning.
Yeah.
Do not do what I did.
Yeah. No, not planning on it.
Yeah.
But you help a lot of people to start trading and a lot of guys to start trading, as well as tell me how to approach all of that stuff, which I'm still recording everything, but I'm not still there to start doing it because apparently I need a specific time to sit down every time to do it, which was doing a trucking job. Close to nearly impossible, not impossible, but close to nearly impossible. But so far I'm occupied myself with doing podcasts and stuff. So my question will be to you, how hard is to start trading right now?
As far as like right now versus 10 years ago, it's all the same. It's easier because of technology, and I think it's only gonna get easier. But okay, so you know how a marathon is hard?
Yeah.
But it's easy to run, one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
So it's a marathon. It's not that what I do is that complex. I have taught people who don't have high school degrees how to trade, right? So it's not about the capabilities that you have. It's not about the mathematics that you know. It's about work ethic.
Interesting.
Consistency. Even if it's just, I have a guy up in BC, Canada, and he's in his 70s. And I used to put his case study at the end of my videos, right? Because 80% of people or more, they fail, at least, right? That's most people fail trading. But he's one of the guys who's making it work. And he said that he set aside 3 hours a week, every single week. And it took him a year, and he's starting to trade. Real money. Has his whole program built.
I need 3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours, especially.
A week out of my gym, out of my podcast, after editing and recording everything and organizing in other meetups. So, but no, that's really amazing. What three softwares that you able to recommend to people if they want to start right now?
For trading?
Yeah.
Most important one, I think, is TradingView. So TradingView is key. And if you want a discount, maybe I'll put the link for you to put in the description. People can get discount. But this video probably will not be aired in time. But Black Friday is the best. You get like 70% discount.
Yeah.
So TradingView is good. And you can get you can use it for free, I think, still. But it's limited capabilities. And then lower level subscriptions, just a few dollars a month. My subscription's about $1,000 a year, but I get heavy discount because I always wait for the sale. Next, software, that's pretty much it, is TradingView. You're going to need a computer. It doesn't have to be the best computer, just kind of like mid-level or better. Windows or Mac, doesn't matter. But I can't think of any software besides TradingView. There are other options besides TradingView. You can use MetaTrader. MetaTrader is really good. It's kind of clunky. I shouldn't say that. That's not true at all. It's not. It's very quick. But the interface looks old, right? The look of it looks like it was 20 years ago. But it's a great program. You just have to learn how to use it. TradingView is more intuitive. It's also very powerful. And for building algorithms like I do using indicators, I'd say TradingView's top. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe MetaTrader's better, but I just don't know how to use it. So I don't want to say it's the best. I will say it's the best for me at this time with what I know. And then another choice I know is very popular is NinjaTrader. NinjaTrader is the third one. So I use TradingView, and I think it's the best, but maybe somebody can teach me something.
That would be interesting. Roll the dice.
18.
18. If you were reincarnated as a tree, what type of tree would you be?
Sequoia.
Sequoia. Why sequoia?
Because it's big, and it's tall, and they're old.
In Ukraine, we have them like close to 12th or 13th floor of the building. So they're really huge.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're still there, but
yeah.
But they're really, really, really huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I've seen them in California.
Are you trying to be just tall? That's basically it.
Just big, man.
Just big and tall.
Big, tall, and old.
Yeah.
Wise.
That's good. You have your own company. It's called Algo Factory. if I'm not mistaken.
You are
unless
not
you
mistaken.
unless I'm unless you named it somewhere differently. So, tell me how this company was born.
Sure. Excuse me. This company started. So what you heard about my journey through crypto, as far as trading, all that stuff. My particular opinion on accumulating wealth is to buy value assets and hold them over time. It could be stocks, could be precious metals, doesn't matter, right? However, if you have a little bit of understanding of markets, you can take a small amount of your money and use it to generate a little bit more income. And the way to do that is to understand how markets work. And I was able to do that, and it changed my life. And I understand, one of the things I didn't tell you in my prior history, I also was a private tutor for years. So I taught young kids like 4th grade, 5th grade through early high school, mostly math, because the education system failed them. And so I was there to pick up the pieces. And I don't know if it's, maybe I just enjoy teaching people. You know, I don't know if I'm especially good at it, but I seem to get good results. And I think it's because I like it. So I just decided to, you know, when you're good at something, you might as well charge for it. And I taught a few people how to trade back in these prior companies. And I realized that because I've been through it and I know what the downfall is, I know where the mistakes get made, I know why people fail. I've been through the failures. Every trader, every single trader who is successful has failed at some point.
Yeah.
The only difference is that they retooled and they kept going. So what I've put together is a comprehensive system to help new traders avoid or at least understand some of those pitfalls, because they're going to fall, it's going to happen, they're going to fail, but that's only a temporary setback, right? And I also feel that, especially after 2020 pandemic, a lot of people were working brick and mortar jobs, like real world jobs. Maybe they were working at a restaurant or they owned a company that had a building. And a lot of people lost their jobs. And throughout that period, I didn't, because of what I do, working from home, working in markets. And so strategically, I think markets are a good place to be because they will be the last thing to go. If markets go, then we're living in caves if markets disappear. So they're always going to be there. And as crypto has evolved, we found that the markets are decentralizing. It's easy to just get into markets if you go that route. So it's an opportunity that anybody can take advantage of. No one's going to look at what country you're from. No one's going to look at what color your skin is. None of that. Everybody can. It's an equal opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And so because of that, because of the anti-fragile nature, to go back to that book, the worse the world gets, the better trading gets. The crazier things get in the world, the better the markets get. Some of the best trading I ever did was during the pandemic. That 2020 crash in March, I don't know if you may not have been watching markets at that time, but it was March of 2020.
I think that's when I invested in Bitcoin at that time.
Before or after it went down?
After it went down.
Oh, then you
because I think Rich had a video put up about how Bitcoin was stable about stuff. And I think after that, I think the crash happened when, I'm talking Canadian prices, because it's every time I tell somebody Bitcoin is 160 or 120, they're like, huh? So right now in Canadians, is what's current market is. But I think during that time it was like 16, 15 in Canadian. So, and after, like, that's where I bought it, and after that I think I sold it when it was like a 35, something like that, which was not a good move.
You doubled your money.
I did, but I still think it was it. But I bought it. I think I invested 1,000 at the beginning, and after, like, I bought $100 every month, something like that. But it was not a good move to sell it.
Can I offer you a little?
Yeah, you can, but
Yeah.
as soon as I'm done.
I'm sorry.
As soon as I finish my thought. Idea is why it was not good. It's because I did need money at that time to actually take it out of the market. I could just sit on it, and that's the reason why I think it was not good. It's not like, it's worse. Like I did a mistake. It's so bad me. No. It's just understanding that, as you said before, I didn't know you before, right? So as a cycle, like Bitcoin have a 4-year cycle, right? So it's basically that part, and that's the reason why I think it was not good for me. But please give me advice, Sensei.
It's really easy. Like hindsight is 20/20, they say. So you look back, oh yeah, if I would have done this, but you didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
And what if you did nothing? So you put $1,000 in, you took out $2,000.
That would be like 10 grand right now. Well, maybe.
No,
15?
I mean, what if you never put it in Bitcoin in the first place?
Oh, okay.
Right?
Gotcha.
So you came out ahead. So and by the way, like in the stock market, you know how long it takes to double your money? Decades, years and years, to double your money. Unless you get, in the right stock. But if you're doing like SP 500, putting money 401k, it takes a decade maybe to double your money. It takes a long time. I don't know. I'm just thinking random numbers here, but Bitcoin, you doubled your money probably in 6 months.
Yeah.
So you had $1,000 more, and plus you put in every month a little bit too. So if you hadn't done anything, then that money that you had to pay for things, you never would have had that. So you actually did better than 99.99999% of people, is that you put your money in, you doubled your money, you took it out. Now you avoided the typical trap, what other people call round tripping.
Mm-hmm.
You buy low, it goes up, and then it comes back down. You round tripped it. You came right back to where you started. You didn't do that. You took profit.
No.
You didn't get greedy. Obviously, you had a reason to get out. So I've got an infinite amount of stories practically of, if I would have done this, if I would have done that. And in trading, that's not going to serve you. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't serve you. You did what you did.
Yeah.
And you did what you did based on the information and everything that you had at the time.
Yeah.
So you made a decision, and that in and of itself is a victory, because a lot of people, they don't have the conviction to make decisions. They don't have a conviction to get in, they don't have a conviction to get out. Yeah. They have analysis paralysis. And therefore, they never participate in markets. And it's always a risk. You could lose your money.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah.
What are 3 emotions, talking about emotions, what are 3 emotions you should not remove but silence down when you do trading?
Well, I can only think of 2.
Okay.
Fear and greed. So, but those are what run the markets.
Mm-hmm.
Fear and greed. Those are the only 2. Everything else I can think of is is a derivative of fear and greed, right? So those are the 2 emotions. If I can think of a third one, I'll let you know. But
please do. I'm curious.
Yes, but that's all it is. And it can be fear makes you sell too early. Fear can make you buy too, because you're afraid that you're going to miss out.
Okay.
Like it's going up, and you're not in, and I got to buy it now. That's fear and greed at the same time in a way.
Yeah.
Fear of missing out, called FOMO. You may have heard that term.
I did. It's made by teenagers, I guess. Teenagers, gosh.
I don't know.
I think I'm still 10. I'm running with the kids on a swings and stuff. Gosh.
Those teenagers, man.
So old. Wow. You know what the best phrase I heard while watching another podcast is that kids are just tiny adults. That's basically it.
I think that's legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I remember being a kid, and at the risk of pumping myself up, I was in the gifted class, always, right? I was in first grade, I was getting in trouble, right? Remember I told you I was socially a little like this, a little behind? I was in first grade, I was crawling on my hands and knees, clapping, barking like a dog. They're trying to teach ABCs, and my parents did parent-teacher night. And teacher told my parents, he's crawling like a dog and barking and clapping and singing songs. And My dad goes, oh, okay, well, we'll go spank him. You know, like that's the answer. And teacher said, no, have him tested. And so at that time, they tested me, and I started going, in first grade, they were sending me to like second and third grade classes. And they put me in second grade, I was in a bilingual class. And so it was like almost all Spanish speakers. And then I leave to go to do math with the third graders. And because of that, I was surrounded by higher caliber students as a kid. I remember being 10, 11 years old, having conversations with kids my age. They sound like adults to me. Mm-hmm. You know, some kids are tiny adults, really. They have the logic and capability. Now, they don't have the understanding of the world. They don't have the experience. But man, some kids are really smart. Yeah. I'm not sure that I was that smart like that, but some kids, one of my buddies in that group ended up being like head of physics department at university in California. I remember him mind so fast. Yeah. I'm smart enough to know that there's a lot of people smarter than me.
Yeah. And it's especially smarter in different areas of the life and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So never stop learning from other people, I think.
Never.
That's both most important part of the life.
I would add to that, and this is something that really I think needs to be heard right now. Wisdom is wisdom regardless of the source. Mm-hmm. So you do have to consider the source, but if you hear something that makes sense to you, but it comes from somebody that you don't like, and you dismiss it because of the source, you might be missing out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I saw a lot of people who do not agree with people and just like straight up hating them, and I'm like, you're welcome to love or hate, but guess what? I would not call them a liar, you know, and stuff. So
yeah, it is what it is. You might not like the person, but maybe they have something to teach you.
Yeah. Let's come back to your company again. So you created it to help people start trading and do trades. Is it okay to ask how many clients you currently have with
About 100.
Above 100 or?
About 100.
About 100.
Maybe
okay.
A little above, maybe a little below.
Oh, okay.
So you're always in and out right now. We're going to start a pretty big marketing campaign, and the price is going to go up. And
yeah.
We haven't put any money towards marketing at all.
Yeah.
That's just my business partner.
Well, I mean, except time that you put on your YouTube channel, right?
That is certainly Besides that.
Yeah. How many people you got off YouTube channel? Just curious.
I don't track it.
You don't track it?
That's a mistake. Yeah, I don't know. I think mostly not any.
Yeah. Because you run a YouTube channel as well, and how's that going?
It's better since you've been helping me.
Well, I'm happy to help and stuff with that. But I remember a couple of times I was like talking to you, but I think you was pushing back. At least that's how I perceive it. Like you was pushing back on like, man, you need to change your thumbnails, and you're like, oh, why, what, where, what for? And I'm like, change your thumbnails. And after I think Sean added as well, I think first video you change your thumbnail is like over 2,000 views or something like that and stuff. Yeah, but the biggest way of advice is to take it. I think even with me, like it's hard to take advice when somebody giving it to you.
If it makes you feel any better, the only reason I would push back is because I have, and it's a personal problem that I have, because of so many things I'm doing. When somebody gives me a new thing on my list, it's like, oh, I got to do another thing, you know. So it's nothing to do with how I value what you're saying. Yeah. It's just like, I got to do another thing, you know. So it's yeah. So don't take it personally, please.
Yeah, no. Have you read the book Buy Back Your Time?
Buy Back Your Time?
Yeah.
Mm-mm. You told me to read it though, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think in your situation you definitely need it.
Well, you know what? Let's see here. Is it on Audible?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
And Dan Martell does a really great addition to Audible version. I'm not sure if he does the same thing in the written portion and stuff, but definitely Audible, he adds a lot of more information there when you listen to it, and I love it. And I follow him on his Instagram and his TikTok as well.
Okay.
Like he has shorts about like small pieces of wisdom or business what you can utilize, and it's just so good. So yeah.
Okay, well, I have it now. And were we, November? So I'll have it read by the end of the year.
Sounds good. Sounds perfect. Because I think a lot of people, and I actually need to talk more about this because it's actually really interesting. People saying, I don't have time. And I think I don't have time is a victim mindset, because somebody came up to you and took your time away.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and or restrict you from taking this time away from you.
Definitely victim. Yeah, that makes sense. I never thought of that way. Excuse me for
No,
keeping
it's all
to
good.
get up.
It's all good. So, and because of that, I think that we don't have time per se. We have a priorities. And not a priorities with us. We have a priority. What we're doing right now, for example, we sitting and recording this podcast, it's priority, right? After you're done, you're probably gonna go deal with your son or deal with one of your businesses, and priority will be done. So idea is that we don't have time. We do not put it in our priority list. So instead of saying I don't have time, say it was not a priority.
Okay.
Going to gym is not a priority. Changing thumbnails is not a priority.
Yeah.
You know?
Fortunately, both of those became priorities.
Yeah. So that definitely changed how I start behaving around myself. And because I'm able to do so much, when I tell people what I do in my life, and they're like, when do you have time to do all of this? And I basically explain to them.
You probably should have more clients than you do, because you're a good coach.
Thank you. But patience is a virtue for me and stuff. So, but let's shift focus from me, because we're not gathered here to listen to me talking, but to listen to you talk about the stock market and crypto, which is I love to do on your calls every time in a group, sitting down and listening you talk about crypto and stock. That's really great. I was talking about three emotions that you need to stay away. What are three things is good to have to start doing trading?
Patience, like you just mentioned, that's a big one, because to learn markets and to learn trading, it's a process. You have to start, and like any other subject, especially with a mathematical or mathematical related subject, you need to start at the beginning. And right now my target client is somebody who already trades, but I'll bring in new people too. You know, you've seen me do it. Even the people who already know how to trade, I tell them that they need to start at the beginning, to be patient, learn fundamentals, review fundamentals if you already know them. Even I, as a trader, go back to fundamentals quite often. If I find myself like I had a bad week and I'm reviewing my trades and I said, what did I do here? And a lot of times it's because I forgot the fundamentals and I started trading emotionally. Maybe I got greedy, or maybe I started to do what's called revenge trading. Like I lost a trade, so I'm going to hit it harder. And so yeah, patience is one thing. Work ethic. Work ethic is number 2, and tenacity is number 3. So like sticking with it. Those are the 2 things: tenacity and work ethic and patience. If you have those, and you apply yourself in trading, the probability is pretty high that you'll be successful.
What part of work ethic you think will be the best?
Consistency. So, because when you trade, 99% of the trade isn't trading, it's homework, right?
Yeah.
And it isn't that you have to spend a lot of time. Like once you have your system, it's not a lot of time. It takes very little time. I know people who, for 3 hours a week, they're trading, full trading. Because they trade higher time frame. They can look at it on Sunday for an hour, and then maybe each day 5 or 10 minutes in the morning and 5 or 10 minutes at night. They can do that because they designed it that way. So when it comes to the work ethic, it matters more when you're building your own trading plan, because you're not trading at that point, right? You're learning. And then you have to go back and you're using some very basic data science. Very basic. Anybody can do it. I've taught anybody. It's not as fancy as it sounds, but you have to go through historical charts and you have to look at what happened in the past, and you have to do something called back testing. Now there are ways to do that automatically, especially if you're on a program that I don't use. But on TradingView, where I work, they have a back tester, but there are issues with it. It's not quite right yet. It's not quite there. And even then, you want to back test manually for other reasons, right? And I've talked about this on the videos. Back testing is going back, testing your strategy in history. And this is where the work ethic comes in, because even though you could program a computer to test for you, when you go back and do it manually, you're going to see how the charts behave. You're going to understand, oh, this happens this way, that happens that way. You're going to journal it and take notes on each individual trade so you can understand, okay, this happened, that happened. And then you're going to do what's called forward testing, where you're trading with very little money, like we talked about, just play money. And then you're going to trade live, and you might lose $1. You know, it's like nothing money. But you're going to see what it's like live. And that means for most people, it's going to be at least 3 to 6 months before they even take a real trade. So, you know, trading is, if you're having an exciting time trading, you're doing it wrong. Trading needs to be boring.
Summarization of all of this conversation.
Yeah, it needs to be boring. If you're like, yeah, oh, like, not good.
Yeah, not good, not exciting. Before we move on, last question. You told me a lot of reasoning for not trade with playful money, what they have on an app, like just, you know, they give you some credits or whatever and you played it. Explain me again what's the reasoning why you need to actually try to put your money on the line.
It's a really good question. You're referring to what's called a demo account or paper trading. It's called, you know, either way. So it's like fake money, and they'll give you $100,000. Now there's use for that, and it's not always bad, but I think if you really want to feel it, if you want to understand, like as you're forward testing, if you want to really understand the psychological component to trading, even having $1 on the line, there's something about it. It's real money. Even if it's nothing, it's real money. You see that dollar turn into $1.20, you're like, hey, that could be 1,000 turning into 1,200. Like it gets in your head a little bit differently than demo. And I don't know how to explain it to you other than that. It's even a tiny bit of money flips a switch in your head. And psychologically, now you're in the trade for real, and you're starting to experience the real fear and the real greed, despite the fact that it's bubblegum money.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's remarkable is what it is.
Roll the dice.
15.
15. What is your favorite color?
Green. Money and plants.
What other objects could be green?
When I was a kid, blue was my favorite color, but it really turned into green. Money, plants, that's only what comes to mind, but what else could be green? Eyes could be green. Art can be green. You know. What's that?
Birds.
Birds can be green. Yeah, parrots, you know. Yeah. But for me, it's really so my backyard is, I live on about an acre, and we have all these trees that are surround our backyard, especially on one side. So we're at dinner table, and we're at the dinner table, there's the window, and that verdant, that green, like the light comes into the house. And to me, there's nothing better, man. Money's a smart ass answer. It's more about the plants and the beauty of nature. It really is. It's not about money.
Yeah.
But money's good too.
Yeah, makes sense. Question about your legacy. Where are you planning to go with your company?
Yeah, I wanted 1,000 by the end of the year, but what it takes to market, I didn't understand when I made that goal. It's not that I can't do it, and I will try. I'm talking about a month and a half to multiply my current membership by 9. So we'll see how that goes. I've never really thought about what I'm going to do once it gets that big. I never thought about, am I going to sell it? Am I going to keep teaching it? Am I going to go do bigger things? Now, I can tell you what I want to do besides Algo Factory, but as far as that company itself, maybe I'll sell it. You can get a lot of money when you have 1,000 people paying you a certain amount every month. Someone will pay you big for that.
Yeah. So what is your goal in 5 years? None.
$80 million.
Lottery?
No. No, just building companies, making the money. And with that money, I have two goals, and that's the smaller one.
Yeah.
And that money is going to go towards decentralized farming.
Oh, okay.
So there's a special kind of a greenhouse, right? And it's shaped a certain way, and it's got some technology that's extremely simple technology, like 100 years ago almost technology.
Gotcha.
But if you do it right, like they have a guy in Nebraska raising oranges in winter in negative temperature, negative Fahrenheit, not, long story short, they're very cheap to build. Technically, they're geothermal. And you'll notice they spray things in the sky. Some people say it's conspiracy theory. Other people say it's not. I don't know. But I think that even if they're not spraying things in the sky, if that's all silly conspiracy stuff, that's fine. But there's pollutants in the sky, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not somebody who's, I'm not a big environmentalist. I'm just saying that stuff falls on the food that you eat, right?
Yeah.
So I want that the greenhouse will protect your food from whatever's in the sky. And you can grow food in the wintertime. You might have to focus on certain kinds of crops. You probably can't grow, passion fruit in the wintertime, but you can grow maybe like onions, beets and late season stuff. And so I want to do decentralized food because that you can fit that on a very small property, and that can feed your whole house.
Yeah, that's actually interesting because my goal, probably not 5 years, but maybe 10, is to buy an island and do straight farming there, like create all the farming and stuff. But I want to do like robotic farming, probably.
Interesting.
So like that robots would be there, and some people just come and service them and just make sure everything goes. But basically, and live off that place. But yeah, that would be one of the ideas how it's gonna happen. Let's say in 10 years, but you never know.
Which island?
I'm not sure yet. That's a TBD. So just island separate, with my own private jet and all of that stuff. But again, it's not like daydreaming. It's just consistent work every day in order to get all of that stuff there. So, but we will see. We will see where or how it's gonna go. But I mean, if you want to grow farms,
we can talk.
We can talk later about this. So. What about your YouTube channel? What are you planning to do with YouTube if you change course of not being a guru of trading?
Well, probably music. Or if I go into that kind of farming, might go into that. I always think fitness, music, or farming. Those are the three that come to mind. And I do, regardless of farming or not, I want to get back into music and actually get better. There's a guy, this guy is who I want to be musically. El Estepario Siberiano, right? So that's like, I don't know what Estepario means, but Siberiano means Siberian. And he's this guy from Spain. And he's got this big beard, and he's probably 30 years old. And this guy is like the best drummer I've ever seen. He's an animal. Sometimes I just, I don't really have a lot of free time to watch stuff, but sometimes I lose like 20 minutes like watching this guy when I should be working. Like, he's that good. He'll drum with one hand what other people do with two, and that's not easy to do with two. He does with one hand. And I'm like, that guy did it, and he did what I wanted to do, So, I mean, I have a burning passion for music even still. Burning passion.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Can you make something with a crypto and music?
Sure.
What you would do, like off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, I can only think of what people have done. So, if anything, if I was going to do my own thing, I probably would have like a token gate scenario where basically if people want to see me play, they have to hold a certain amount of crypto in their wallet, and then they have access to watch me play or something. You know what I mean? Maybe use it to buy merchandise. There's all kinds of different little ideas with crypto and music. I could open my own company that finds new artists, and it could all be done through cryptocurrency as well. Start paying A&R guys to go see what the kids are doing,
That's interesting. Well, we come to the last part. We will be rolling dice 3 times, but
All three?
No, not right away, but 3 times. So
15. It's my birthday.
15 again. I already asked you this question. I will ask you a different question. What's the most unusual food you tried, and did you like it?
I would have to say crickets.
Crickets.
Yeah, I was fishing in Mexico. Yeah, I was trying to think of when I was in Asia, but we didn't eat anything that crazy in Asia. We just ate like normal, but crickets in Mexico. That was probably the craziest thing, to eat bugs.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of a thing now, but for me, I was like, hey, that's a bug, and people are eating it. I'm like, it's pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know. I heard so many stuff about that, and this is the last thing what I heard. Actually, what they tried to make is a flour out of crickets, basically, and you can make yourself a bread and stuff out of that. But I'm still kind of. I think bugs are for birds or other animals to consume, not for humans. But I mean, we survived because we consumed a lot of meat, and a lot of protein. So I would not just dilute this answer yet, and we'll see in the future what they're gonna create and stuff.
There are some medical concerns with eating bugs.
Yeah.
That some people say are not concerns, and other people say that there are. And I'm not a doctor, so.
Yeah. We should ask a real doctor.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'll ask a real doctor on that one.
Let's go again.
Oh. 13.
13. If you were a pilot of a plane, where would you go right away?
Bali. Just Bali comes to mind.
What's interesting in Bali?
I've seen pictures. It looks beautiful.
Just vacation.
Vacation, surfing. I haven't surfed in a long time, but I heard the surfing is good.
Oh.
It just looks really pretty.
Have you tried surfing?
Oh yeah, I used to surf quite often.
Oh, right, you grew up in California. I was like, I think everybody who's in California, they probably should try surfing at least once, right?
Yeah, my dad surfs every week.
Well, you will teach me surf if we're going to be in California
Yeah, why
next
not?
time.
It'd be fun, man.
Yeah, sounds good. Like to roll one more?
Let's try that again.
Yeah.
Oh, gotta try it again.
Yeah.
2.
2 again. I will ask you a different question this time. If you could master any skill, what it would be and why?
Languages. I enjoy languages. And that's another thing that I didn't mention is I would get into again. And I was studying Italian up until a couple of months ago and got out of the habit. Some pretty crazy stuff was going on and I had to deal with that and I just fell off. But I really like languages. I tend to learn them pretty easily, and I think it's because I learned a second language when I was very young. And so because of that, and I also have a little bit of talent for imitating like people. So I don't know. The way I can say this is I speak Spanish pretty well. There was a time when I spoke really well, but not as much anymore. I'm out of practice now. I used to speak Spanish every day. And it's a different way of thinking, right? You know 2 languages, at least.
Yeah, I know 3.
You know 3, okay.
And I'm learning 4th.
Learning 4th. Which ones do you know?
Trying to do Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah, I even got ChatGPT to help me practice because it's voice there, so I can just practice my Spanish talking to ChatGPT.
Nice. Great. Yeah, the internet's, that AI is amazing, LLMs. Yeah. But as you know, it's a different way of thinking because you hear them using like a different phrase, or like in English we say you don't paint them all with the same brush, meaning like you don't want to put everybody in the same category. But in English we say you don't want to paint them all with the same brush. In Spanish they say no debes poner todo en la misma bolsa, like you don't want to put them in the same bag.
Yeah.
Not that makes a big difference, but you can use that to understand how like they're illustrating a thought. And they illustrate it different than we illustrate it in English.
Yeah.
And then it gets deeper than that when you really start to learn language. And it's just fascinating. And I love other cultures. I really like other cultures. When I was at university, I really enjoyed like mixing with other cultures. I lived with Koreans for like 3 years. They treated me like family. And they are good eaters, man. They got some good cuisine. And their moms would send them with food because they'd go home to LA and come back down to San Diego with all this food. And this table would be full for like 3 of us.
Yeah.
And they really, really welcomed me into their circle. I got to know some Persian guys that also were very, very welcoming. Just I don't know. I love cultures, man.
Yeah. I think it was the third one, right?
That was the third one.
Yeah, third roll. Well, that's amazing. Yeah. Food is delicious. I love food.
Yeah,
So,
man. All about it.
and last but not least,
You don't want to hear the rhino story?
rhino story. If you want to share it, sure.
No, it's, we can save for next.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Maybe at Bali one day. We'll
That's
see.
right.
We'll see what life gonna bring us to. Last but not least, what you would recommend your younger self?
Buy Bitcoin. Just kidding.
Cut.
Yeah. Really, really, what would I recommend? Be patient. Work hard at a skill and be very patient. And just get good at something. Plumbing, anything. Become really good at one thing and stick with it. Because if you can be the best, this my grandfather used to tell me. My dad too, of course, but grandpa, he's this old Sicilian guy. He's still around. And he says, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're the best ditch digger, then you're gonna make money, right? So for me, I would tell myself to do something maybe a little more complex, but just stick with it. Like maybe, try to be that doctor. Stay with this. I know it's not easy. I know you got to be in school for 10 years, but you could be a surgeon. Because I was going to be a surgeon to help people, and money. Wanted money too. So that might be one of the things that I would say. There's a lot of things I would say. And I think every person goes through that thought process. What would you say to your younger self? And my philosophy is that even if I had said that, my life has been so interesting. I've done a lot of really cool things. And if I had gone to my younger self and said this, that, and the other, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I like who I am today. So I'm not sure if I had a chance. I would be very tempted to go back and say, buy Bitcoin or, buy NVIDIA. Those are the silly, obvious answers. But aside from that, what I've been through and what I deal with, all the good, the bad, everything, I think I have lived, maybe not I know there's people who have lived more extraordinary life than I have, but I feel like I've lived a pretty cool, extraordinary life. The view that I have of the world, I think, is pretty good, although other people think I'm crazy, and they're welcome to think that. Honestly, if God came to me now and said you can say something to your younger self, I'd have to really consider whether or not I even want to. Mm. And that's the God's honest truth.
Mm. Because all experiences, what you live through is your own, right? And it's hard to transfer. But if you have an opportunity.
It's hard, yeah. But I wouldn't have my 2 kids and my wife. I love them.
Yeah.
Or maybe I would. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, Nick, thank you very much for this lovely times that you're able to give us in your schedule and put it as a priority, as I said before. And hopefully one day I'm able to visit your farm and we're able to see how modern farming should be since now and then and stuff. So, but
could be our farm.
Yeah,
we'll
see. We'll be working in the same parallel to each other, and we'll see where we're getting. So, thank you.
Thank you.